driver has no...
Things on side-by-sides with ice and water. Bottom freezing.
For all my talking for like 20 minutes.
You already got it pre-recorded?
He's going to.
Well, you know, they have the, what do you call it, the guy that talks, the automatic guy, he can do it.
Oh yeah, I can do that.
No. Well, do what you're going to do.
Oh yeah, guess what else I got today? This I'm real proud of.
Are you taping?
Solid Rock with Chris Ryan on 94.1 JJO.
I heard it. Chris
It took
Ryan.
long enough, you know. I was like, are they ever gonna do that, you know? So, yeah. So,
Were you taping it?
Yeah, the
What
thing
should I
doesn't
do?
go back any further though.
I'm gonna give it to go for that.
You want me to take it?
Do a little
How do you
autopilot
talk?
action.
Just talk normal. And this makes it go that like close in a way. This is
Is this
far
taping
back.
right now?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's taping. Does it still say
Oh, should I
record?
go like slow then?
Okay, this is Chris Ryan. We're at WJJO. We're gonna watch him pre-record for about 20 minutes, half hour of ahead of time, whatever you want to call it. And you can go ahead.
Okay. Well, you can see we've got two computers. That's called the DCS, and this is the UDS, and I can't remember what UDS stands for. It's not important. Digital Computing System is DCS. This is just basically our whole program, list. It shows what music we've got coming up, our commercials, and then the red lines where it says Liner Studio, that's where we talk. And see, I have to in 1 minute. So, but I can go through and I can change things too. I can, if I don't want to play this Tom Petty song, I can just arrow down to it, hit C for change, and then I can just arrow over. If I want to play Led Zeppelin, I can just type in like the first few letters, lead, and then I can go through and see all the wonderful Led Zeppelin songs we play. And there's a whole bunch of them. But I played enough Led Zeppelin today, so I'll leave it alone.
So do you get to pick the songs that you want to hear?
No, this
Or
is
is it
pretty much,
pre-done?
set up before I come in.
Okay.
I can change it a little bit, but they, of course, don't want a lot of much. Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO in excess and the one thing. You're hanging with Chris Ryan, JJO's Weekend Warrior. Got some Guns N' Roses and 7 Mary 3 on the way. Right now it's Pearl Jam, alive on Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO. So now I'll backtrack and say why when you turn on the microphone like this, it basically mutes out the music, and that's why we wear headphones, because you wouldn't know where the song ended if you would just, stood here and
Yeah.
you'd have to kind of guess. I had a friend that visited me at one station, and he's like, "What's going on? What happened to the music?" And I'm like, "Shh." Like, that happens, It basically will run itself, and then I can go in and make it really run itself by putting in whatever I want to. We've got a catalog in here under F4. It's like our F4 list of commercials, and each of us is assigned a number series of, I have the 2000 series, so when I go in and pre-tape if I wanted to pre-tape and split or whatever, I'm like 2000, 2001, so on and so on. And then we get into like the 6000s are all our Shut Up and Rocks, all our little liner things, and stuff like that. And then at the beginning of each hour, we're required by like the FCC to give a legal ID. And so one question I get a lot is, why do you say Watertown, Madison? It's like,
I was wondering that too.
it's like your main city of license is, and your secondary city. I mean, our studio, of course, is in Madison, but the tower and all the main transmitting equipment's in Watertown. Because like 10 years ago, this station was in Watertown, and it was like a little box out in the middle of nowhere, and then somebody got some money and decided to move it to the big city. And it's been through like probably 4 or 5 format changes in like 10 years. Hopefully this was the one that's going to work and keep me in a job. So, I mean, I can preview anything in there. Basically, you know, I always keep everything slid down on the control board, except for like the main UDS switch always stays up because it's playing this. But I can drop stuff down into Q like that and push the little Q button and come over here and find what I want to hear. And
When you hear this song,
a couple of buttons.
And feathers.
call WIBA and see if they'll give you $10,000. WJJO.
So that's good to have, you know, a little entertainment. You know, I come in here and, you know, since I'm only on the weekends, usually there'll be 5, 6, 7 new ones in there that I haven't heard, and I usually like to preview them before I go tossing them on, you know, because there's some that, you know, I kind of don't like, that are just kind of bland, but ones like that, you know, that make you laugh, and you gotta have that. So, I mean, this is like starting at the top of technology. I could show you what happens at a real radio station where they don't have computers, where you've got to punch a lot of buttons and you've got to always be doing something. I mean, I can stand here and let this thing run itself. So I might as well just show you how I do that. Basically, there's a recording mode in here, and you hit Shift F2 to get to it, and then you get this screen, and I can type in my 2000 series. So I think I'll start with 2010. It says create new recording with part 2010. Yeah. Then I can give it a title. I found that if I type CRYAN, it says Cryan, which is my radio name. Abbreviated. I'll just call it Cryan Liner. Everything we play on the control board, I should probably mention, is everything's always in the program mode, and that means that it's the program that's getting played. But to do this, I want to go in Audition because I don't want to be blabbing and recording and it'll be going over the air at the same time. So when I first started here, and I didn't know what I was doing, like a lot of people, because we got the system about a little over a year ago, and it was right about the time I started, and nobody really had a clue. And you'd always hear, I'd be driving down the road and I'd hear somebody in here pre-recording their shift because they'd be doing it over the air, and because they'd forget to throw the microphone in Audition. Then I'd hit F8. Well, I'd have to turn the microphone on, of course. Then hit F8. I can start talking. Hit F6 to kind of give it like a little. It's got to have a Q tone. So when I put it in here, it recognizes that Q tone and cues the next event on the list.
So is a lot of stuff pre-recorded?
We don't so much anymore. When we were in classic rock, we had a smaller staff and we had a lot of public appearances. And on the weekends, I was here like a lot of the time on Saturday, most of the day, and then I'd do this shift a lot, like all day Sunday. And then the full-timers would go out and they'd do the events and the public appearances. And but when they were on the weekends, I mean, since they were so burned out, they would always put it on autopilot. And I did it a lot of times when I had other stuff going on, or I'm like, well, I don't really need the money this week, or it's no big deal. So I just put it on autopilot, split, cruise down the highway and get a big ego rush out of hearing myself. It's kind of like, so, which, you know, was great like the first couple of times you do it, but then you know, it kind of gets old. And they prefer to have somebody here to answer the phones, talk to the people, take requests, and just make sure that the thing runs right. Because a lot of times, you know, a CD will skip. That'll affect your whole program. If you're saying, or if you type in the wrong number, or put your part in the wrong spot. If I'm gonna do one for this next song and say, here's Guns N' Roses, and it turns out that I put it somewhere else where you wind up sounding like, you know, you don't know what you're doing. And we've had that happen here before. So they just try to get away from it. This long shift, Sunday, I'll get to about 4 or 5 o'clock and I start getting kind of time to go home. So I'll do like the last hour or so, but that's about it. So I guess I'll do this one live too.
Okay.
And the next one I'll set up with a pre-recording mode. And as you can see, I mean, some people at some stations script what they're gonna do. It's usually we usually just set up what we're gonna do and we kind of ad-lib, so it doesn't sound so canned, you know. Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO TP and the Heartbreakers. Hey man, I need to know. Yeah, you need to know what's coming up. 7 Mary 3 and Autograph. Right now, time to rock with Guns N' Roses. Turn it up real loud. It's Paradise City on Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO. So we just kind of pretty much, it's what they like to call fly by the seat of your pants radio. There's been some stations where I've worked at where it's all stuff like this, what they call liner cards. So you sit there, you know, and we've got those here where we talk about our concert line and our little features that we do, our request shows. But, you know, they don't want you to stand here and read it like, you know, right off the card, like it's a complete listing of local, regional, and national rock concerts. You know, I mean, it's like you gotta pep it up a little bit. Like if you went to like this show, or maybe like the Bush show that was just here, Stone Temple Pilots. You know, it's like you gotta relate to the audience that you know is listening. Like, I mean, I know 3 people that went to this show, but I know that the show was pretty much sold out, so a lot of our listeners, and just from talking to the listeners, I know that they went to it, so it's good to throw in little bits like that. Otherwise, you know, people like, oh, this is boring, you know, this is bad radio, you know, they don't listen. So that's one thing that they've had several meetings about. It's like, this station right now doesn't have that many rules. We just kind of do our own thing until they tell us we're breaking the rules, but nobody's talked to me yet, so I'm just keep doing what I'm doing.
So how did you become interested?
Let's see, I kind of...
Have you always been, or?
I was when I was a little kid, but I was kind of shy when I grew up, so I thought, oh man, I'll never be able to pull that off. You know, I'll get in there and I'll think there's 10,000 people listening or whatever, you know, and start shaking and freaking out. One of the things that helped me was when I went and signed up for school, and I wasn't even sure I was going to do it because it was right, you know, I was a little bit after high school, and I was still kind of bouncing around. I'm like, you know, am I really going to do this, or what's up, you know, and the money was kind of an issue. And I didn't know that the people that make really good money in radio are like salespeople. And disc jockeys, depending on what their shift is, or if they've got like a great reputation, or they get really, really good ratings, then they make really good money. I mean, I do okay as a part-timer, but some of the benefits are like, you know, those shirts there, the hat, concert tickets, stuff like that. I've gotten compact discs. I mean, little things like that, you know, kind of help out. But unfortunately, it took me until I got to this station to work at a station that had a budget that would do stuff like that. So when I drive down the Beltline, I see our billboards, and that's great because I've never worked at a station that had billboards, or a budget, or money, or anything. A lot of them I worked at, the pay was lousy, the hours were terrible, and the only reason I stayed in it was because I loved it, and because I thought, this is great, to play music and get paid for it. Unfortunately, there's, a little bit more that you got to deal with besides that, but if you really love it, you stick with it.
How many stations have you worked at?
Well, I worked at this one briefly, once before, and one of the bad, sad realities of radio is when a station gets sold or they change the music or whatever, a lot of times they decide, well, the people aren't going to stay with us, so it's time to lose the whole staff, and that's what happened. I walked into this place like it was playing, it was called basically rock and roll without the rough edges. We'd play the main rock artists, but we'd play slower, lighter songs by them. Nothing that rocked like this. And so they, the new owners, this company, Midwest Families, bought it out and decided, well, we're going to basically do a clean sweep, and they only kept, I think, 2 people out of the whole bunch of air personalities. So that stuff happens a lot. I've had a couple other stations where, after that happened, I was kind of running scared. I'm like, it's time to, it'd start to seem like we had no money, and there'd be rumors of the stations getting sold, and I'm like, I'm out of here, I go to the next place. I've done, the first station I really worked at was a little station in Reedsburg that played light rock, and it was news and information. So I read news, sports, weather, 5 times an hour. Then I came here, then I went to 96 for about a year, and that was okay, and I was assistant program director there, so I was more involved with the music and the programming and stuff. And after that, I went to IBA AM and did more news, information, and light rock.
Was your name always Chris Ryan?
No. In the very beginning, briefly, I was Chris Walters. And I don't know why or how I came up with that name, but I knew somebody whose last name was Ryan, and we were pretty good friends, so I ripped off the name. Just because, I thought, well, hardly anybody uses their real name. We've got a guy here named Jeff Davis, and that it's not his real first name or last name. It's a totally cobbled together name. Well, I'm gonna do a little weather. Except for we don't call it weather anymore. Don't call it weather. Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO, a little GNR action for your Sunday. I'm Chris Ryan, your weekend warrior, checking out the JJO environment looking mighty nice this afternoon. Sunny up to 68, some clouds, showers, and thunderstorms overnight down to 48. Clouds, breezy, showers, thunderstorms. You know the drill, it's for Monday, so who cares? You're going back to work anyway. All the way up to 70. Coming up, some Rush on Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO.
Van and sports utility vehicle is clearly marked with Kaiser's no negotiating, no haggling.
So that's basically my little radio career.
Do you like working at this station?
This is probably my favorite, other than when I was at 96. I did really like goofing around with the music and doing the programming and setting that stuff up, because there's a separate computer system that you add in songs, and you give the songs a tempo code, like this song's fast, this song's slow, and then you give your computer rules like no play 2 slow songs back to back. And you can basically tailor it to whatever you're doing. Like here, we play kind of a little bit of 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s rock, kind of almost alternative, a little metal. So, you know, I'm sure that they've got rules in there saying, you know, no 270 songs from the 70s back to back or whatever. And then you don't want to play, like, say I play Rush here in a little bit. I don't want to play Rush 20 minutes from now. You can give it rules like that. Like, it's called artist separation. So you keep Rush an hour and a half apart from, like, your next Rush song, which is probably good here because we play a lot of Metallica. And sometimes when I'm in here all day, it seems like, you know, every hour, but then I go and look and it's not. But if we played any more Metallica, we'd have to kind of sandwich them back to back. Alrighty then, the JJO Burger King Ticket to Rock is your ticket to great prizes all summer long. The JJO Mountain Dew Thunder Truck will be cruising the streets of southern Wisconsin, making lots of stops for you to come out and register to win cool prizes, like a Sea-Doo personal watercraft for Rob's Performance Motorsports in Johnson Creek. Once you've registered at one of our Thunder Truck stops, all you got to do is listen for your name on JJO, and then when you hear it, call back within 9 minutes and 41 seconds. You'll automatically win a qualifying prize, and your name will be in the big drawing June 2nd for the Sea-Doo. Our next Thunder Truck stop tomorrow, Westgate Mall, noon to 1. Hang out with Sean the Man of Steel. He's at Fans and Monograms with the JJO Burger King Ticket to Rock. And your ticket to rock is right now with 7 Mary 3. Turn it up. It's cumbersome. On Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO.
Wow. You were live there, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes you'd prefer to record ahead of time.
That's my mom, Kim.
To prevent
My
errors.
stepdad, Carl.
Yes.
And then you could redo it.
The problem that I've run into with that
And
is
Jody.
I get a little too,
Say hi, Jody.
I get a little too neat, you know, like, and then it almost sounds like, it sounds really almost canned, like I'm trying to not make any errors. And one of the guys that used to work here before we switched to music used to tell me, if you screw up once in a while when you pre-record, why don't you just leave it in there, because it sounds more natural, more human. I mean, you don't want to sound like a robot either. Like earlier, you might have heard driving in here, I was talking about requests and stuff, and I've been doing that a lot because I don't really do a request show here, but we've got so many shifts where there's like an hour here, like our lunchtime is requests, our 5 to 6 drive home is requests, and at night is a lot of requests. And what people start thinking is they, you know, I mean, this is the quietest the phones have been all day, but from like 11 until about 1 or so, I was on the phone constantly. It's like, and I start writing them down once in a while just to see what I get, and I filled up like a page and a half like this one Sunday, and made about 4 calls for Offspring, and I'm like, you know, so what I did was, I had a song coming up anyway, so I'm talking about what you do when you get all these calls.
I heard that when I was brushing my teeth.
And I accidentally said, I accidentally swore, and I didn't mean to, and it was a slip of the
I
tongue.
heard that too.
And I'm like, whoa, that wasn't what was supposed to come up. So, I always, you know, make a joke of it. I mean, if I screw up, I try to make a joke of it, because then...
I didn't hear what you said, but I heard you said something like, oops.
And then I said something about it later on, like the next time I had to talk, I was like, well, let's see if I can make it through this break without accidentally swearing.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
So I usually just, you know, try to make like a little joke of it, just so people recognize that, you know, you're a human being, you're not some robot in here. Because I've met a lot of announcers that treat the people on the phones like garbage, or promise to play a request, yeah, I'll play that, and they won't. I basically try to be honest with the people. I'm like, well, maybe I won't promise you, or hey, we don't play that song. You know, I had somebody call up for like something really light about 2 weekends ago, and I don't remember what it was, but like, wrong station.
I think your phones are ringing now, huh?
Yeah. That's another thing I try not to do either, is I've got like about 40 seconds to a break. If I start answering the phone, you know, then I have to like get rid of them right away or put them on hold or whatever. I just try to talk to them, get it over with, and move on to the next one. So, what we run into, I can talk a little bit about it, but sooner or later I'm going to show you how we record something, and then I'll tell you basically what we do like over the course of an hour. I mean, you're kind of seeing it now, but I'm not really explaining it, so it's probably not making a whole lot of sense. Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO. The band is 7 Mary 3, and the tune is Cumbersome. This band is Rush, and they are going to be at the Marcus Amphitheater in June. Limelight on Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO.
Well, you just played Rush not long ago, so that's probably about an hour ago, hour and 20 minutes.
Actually, we get a printout too. We used to not get this all the time because they thought that the weekend's big deal. But it basically goes alphabetically: AC/DC, Aerosmith, Alice in Chains, Autograph, Black Crowes, Black Sabbath, so on and so on. And then you can go through and you can see exactly when the songs are going to play. And then if we change anything, we just write that we dropped it, or if we add something, like I added Black Sabbath, Paranoid, and so I just add that in. So then when they go to shake down the computer to create the next music schedule, it'll show up. That it's pretty important to do that, because somebody comes in here and decides to play Dream On by Aerosmith in the morning, and then they don't write it down, and the next person comes on and plays it, and then people who are listening hear that 6 times over the course of a day. Some people, I've worked at stations where I've done shifts like this, long shifts, and somebody will call at 10 o'clock and ask to hear a song. I'll play it, and then they'll call again for it 2 hours later, and basically over the course of a day I'll call 3, 4, 5 times, and geez, how many I can't play your song for you over and over, since you get a lot of different calls. So Rush was, I think, at 1:45. Yep. So that is our music log. So I will answer this very persistent call. And we always tape our phone calls, just in the event you get somebody to that might be good to put on the air. That doesn't always happen, of course. JJO?
Could you play the Vincent Price Blues by Views, huh?
I don't know if we have that, but I'll try to get that out for you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Another one. JJO?
Hey, I got a question for you. There's a bunch of us got stuck working today out at Madison. Kip, I was wondering if you could play Ted Nugent's Stranglehold.
Ooh, yeah, it sucks to work on a Sunday when it's so nice, isn't it?
Yes, it does.
Okay, I'll see what I can do for you.
All right, thanks a lot.
You bet.
Bye.
Or what I can do is, if the whole call doesn't work out, I'll put them on hold now, because I can do that too. I can lock the phone. So, and that's what we do, because there are times when the station does still run itself, late at night, and I'm the only one here Sunday. So before I come in and after I leave, we leave the phones on hold. Otherwise, it'll just ring and ring and ring, and people will get the idea that there is somebody here to answer their call when there isn't. But I can use parts of phone calls. I've done that. I did that earlier today with a couple of them, where the first half of the call will be okay, but then the rest, they start rambling, or I screw up or something happens. So I can just cut it and then flip the mic back on and keep talking and intro the song or whatever. So
okay, we need a new tape here, Jode.
Did it stop?
No, I just hit pause though.
See?
20 minutes already.
Half hour.
I have a half an hour tape. That's all the
That's probably all the class time you're gonna get, right?
Alrighty then. So is that thing rolling?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I do is I've assigned my number over there. Now we're finally going to pre-record something. I go in over here and put that same number in, 2010. Then turn down my headphones because it'll be on the microphone. Turn on the mic, turn it up, and you can see I've got a little meter thing there that blah, 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 blah. And then I hit F8 to start. And I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO Autograph. Turn up the radio. Yeah, that's what you want to do coming up with Ozzy Osbourne and Led Zeppelin from Madison Solid Rock 94.1 JJO. Then I hit F6 to put that tone on that I was talking about earlier, and then F8 to cut the thing completely off. I suppose I can make sure that I've got something on here. Then it'll say Alt-C, and I hit that if I want to keep that. I can play it in queue and preview it, so I'll keep that. Then I'll type in the time length, which is 11 seconds. And then after this song, I'm on autopilot.